Hello everybody, my name's Sage, and today we are going to be doing my first ever review, and you see, this review is kind of a personal story, so if you decide that if you have like a weak stomach or something, turn away right now because this is horrific, totally, not joking whatsoever. Anyways, so, one day, I was walking into GameStop. Now, just so you guys know, I am a fan of the anime known as Dragon Ball Z, and all that kind of jazz. So, I went to go see if there were any old Dragon Ball games for an Xbox 360, because I have one. And I saw a game, and I picked it up, and I brought it home, and I played it. This is what I saw. This is my personal experience with the Dragon Ball game Ultimate Tenkaichi. Now, Ultimate Tenkaichi, it's not good. It did have some sequels. I haven't seen them, but I personally think it's trash. It's absolute trash. It only has one redeeming quality. Yeah. So I guess I'll just get into the review of the game now. First of all is quick action. I hate you. You should die. So quick action, if you don't know, is whenever in a game you have to quickly press a button before the timer runs out. And normally this is fine. Like I love the Telltale games where you can do that. But you have, I don't know how much time you have in order to do it, and it's either one button or three buttons. And you're usually thinking that it's going to be one button, but whenever it's three buttons, then it's insane. And I would get it, because one of the things about Telltale games that I like is that whenever you do mess up, you can go back, but this time you know what you're doing. But in Ultimate Tenkaichi with the quick action, you press, whenever you fail, you go back, and it's different. And not to mention that, whenever you end up losing because of this quick action, you go back to the open world section, which is terrible. They never should have added an open world section. It's neat to see all the characters, and well, not all the characters, all the places, but it sucks. I hate it. They should have just made it missions instead of having to go into open worlds. But yeah, so the quick action is very annoying. It's just the difficulty. So as you can see, I put this amazing image in the background because I thought it would somewhat fit. um, okay, so the difficulty for this game, it's either way too easy or way too hard. And I'm gonna talk about something. So, when I was trying to beat the Satan Saga, it took me a literal month to get past the Vegeta section, where he turned into a Great Ape, because of the quick action. And I went from way too easy to way too hard. It's terrible. Because you can be playing the game, and you're, like, punching them and beating them all up, and it's super easy at first. But then, like, right after Nappa, and normal Vegeta, you go straight into Great Ape Vegeta, which is terrible. I hate it. To this day, I still hold a grudge against him. I mean, Vegeta's my favorite character, but the Ozaru, it's gotta go, dude. Yeah, that's my least favorite part of the game. Just the Vegeta section. Okay. Super attacks. So, in Dragon Ball, there are techniques that are sort of iconic, like the Kamehameha, the Gallic Gun, Makan Kosapo, nailed it, things like that. But in this game, whenever you launch one, it's more like a really long cutscene than it is an attack. Because whenever you do somehow end up launching one, I'll get to that in a second, you hit. Okay, That's kind of obvious, but if you land a super attack, then I am not. Wow, okay, I'm doing terrible. Uh, if you launch a super attack, nailed it. Uh, whenever the enemy gets a choice to either do nothing, block it. I don't remember what one of them was, but then the other one was to try and beam struggle, which is cool. But right now, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite games in relation to super attacks. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. No, I love this game, alright, it's probably my favorite game, but whenever you launch a super attack, the other person can move, dodge, and this is the same with every other Dragon Ball game, except for Ultimate Tenkaichi, where they are forced to stop and make a decision. And if they don't have an energy to do that decision, they're forced to take the full brunt of the attack. But say in Xenoverse, I could use my evasive, or I can snap vanish out of the way, or I can just do the lazy thing that everybody does nowadays. Whatever it's called. Limit burst, there we go. Alright, so I could just limit burst and get out of the attack without taking any damage. And not to mention that I could just stamina break instead of launching an attack that is going to hit. So that's one of the worst parts of this. But time for the next part of the game, the combat. So obviously in Dragon Ball, one of the most redeeming parts of it all is the combat, because it's dudes beating up other dudes. It's cool. But no. So basically what I mean by that is, in this game, there are two kinds of combat. There's close-up and there's far away. And whenever you're doing close-up, you can only do punching. Actually, no, there's three different kinds of combat. So there's close-up, far away, and then giant. I think I'm just gonna call it giant combat. So whenever you're doing close-up combat, you can only punch. Whenever you're doing far away combat, you can only shoot ki blasts and do super attacks. But giant combat is the worst of them all, because going back to the Great Ape Vegeta, you're forced to wait until this opponent does the same attack over and over again, where it's either super easy to dodge or impossible to dodge, because it just landed a hit on you. But then usually you have to attack one of its body parts after the attack, because they're not smart enough to pull their hand back. But another personal gripe with it all is auto combos. Now, in most games, you can make up your own combos. Like, in fighters, there are auto combos, but you can always end them with a super, or an ultimate, or you could switch out your character to continue the combo. But in this game, you spam one button, and then you get to make a decision, where it's basically rock, paper, scissors. And if your opponent makes the same decision as you, they win, but if you make a different decision, you win. And you get to continue your combo. And you just gotta keep on pressing that same button until the combo ends, and you do it all over again. So, it sucks. And whenever you're far away, you can shoot ki blasts and do super attacks. And I already mentioned how stupid the super attacks are. So, it's terrible, if you catch my drift. Yeah, it's just not good. Alright, next up is the one shining light in this sea of trash. So, hero mode is neat. So, it's basically Xenoverse 2 and Xenoverse, but in Ultimate Tenkaichi. Because in this, you get to create your own character, kind of. You can customize your own super attacks. You can even go Super Saiyan once you beat Piccolo. But still, it has the same after effects as all of the other things that I mentioned on this list. But it was the building blocks for games like Xenoverse. And I love that game. That's probably my favorite game to play. I play it all the time. I have all of the DLC. So yeah, it's a fun game. Only in hero mode. And when I was talking about the Piccolo fight, it's so hard. And it's the only way to get some kind of power up for your character. It's terrible. Okay, it's not terrible, but it's just not a good game, and it does make up its own story, so I'll give it that much. So, yay. But still, it's not the greatest. Okay, so to just finish this all off, kind of like in a school paragraph, it's a bad game with hero mode being the only good part of it, with the super attacks and the combat and everything else. Like, there's a gallery in it, that's kind of neat, but I'll tell you one thing. My second favorite game, Raging Blast 2, like Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2, has a way better gallery. So if you're looking for a good game to play that's Dragon Ball related, go to your local store and pick that one up. It's also for the Xbox, so just to show, it has good combat, good super attacks, where you don't have to go into a cinematic position in order to do things. But yeah, it's a bad game. Bad game is bad. Well, thanks for sitting through this with me. Goodbye, friends.